243.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Game by Show podcast. Everybody, it's our new recording day officially, Monday. It's today, Monday, the 21st of February.
Montag.
We now record on Mondays. Montag, lunes, whatever you want to call it. That's when we record.
It's Moon Day.
We felt like Monday was an underappreciated day of the week, so
kind of. We're bringing
Everyone hates
back
Mondays, and now
we're
you have
pushing back on that Garfield vibe. Take that, Garfield.
Oh man, Garfield. Next, you know, we're going to be hating on lasagna next.
That's right. Nobody likes lasagna.
Welcome to the show. My name is LeGrand. I am joined by Jeremy, Dale, and Jared. Hello.
Hey.
Everyone knows who they are.
we're
Say
the
hi.
ones with cameras.
Yeah, hey guys. Listen, I don't know what happened, but I think I ruined my camera today, which sucks because I use my my desktop normal computer to take Zoom calls at work because the camera's better than my MacBook. And now we may not have a camera, but I may just need to buy another one. But that's okay. It's an opportunity to upgrade, I suppose, right? That's what that means.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying your potato self right now. I think that's.
Oh, God damn it. What's going on? Ah, potato camera. That's okay. It's okay. I had potatoes for dinner. Okay, it's fine.
Potatoes
It's
are
fine.
delicious.
I
Potatoes
love
are
potatoes.
delicious.
I had potatoes for dinner.
Weird.
And they're very calorie dense, you know what I mean? Like, or not very calorie dense.
Starchy.
Yeah.
They're filling.
Well, to start off the
Good.
show today, we have
Almost
an update for everyone on our Rotten Tomatoes challenge for the Uncharted movie. As it stands right now, I think this movie came out last week. I think
Something like that.
it's got 187 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Therefore, we deem it appropriate as curators of the Rotten Tomatoes challenge that we can now assess the results.
I
my
can't
son-
believe I voted this high. I can't.
My
believe
son
I
and
voted.
I asked him, like, when are we going to go see Uncharted? He's like, is it out? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, we're going to go see it, even though he told me, and he's the biggest Uncharted fan. He's like, Dad, this movie is going to be dumb. And we're going to go see it anyways. Anyway, right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it is sitting at a 40% from the critics
That seems right.
and 90% from the audience.
Come on, audience. Come on.
Now,
As speaking of somebody who's not seen this movie, you clearly are out of your minds.
my opinion, which is probably the correct opinion, is that this movie is probably fine to watch. It's going to be entertaining, but ultimately it's not very good.
I don't know. That doesn't do it for me.
It's a
anymore.
joy to
It does.
consume, but not very nutrient dense like a potato.
Like
listen,
freaking,
It's
Lost
like
Ark.
it's like when you don't have a dinner planned and so you eat a bowl of cereal.
Oh,
And it's
I love
fine.
that.
Like you enjoyed it, but in retrospect, you're never proud of yourself. For it.
No.
Yeah.
I'm proud of every bowl of cereal I consume.
Dude, cereal
Every
is so
evening
good.
at 11 p.m. I love that bowl of cereal.
I do
but,
love cereal.
Best midnight snack ever.
yeah,
I love
legit.
cereal like I love Mark Wahlberg cast in a weird
Oh
role.
my gosh, it's too the analog. It's like that's dead on. That's the best metaphor I've ever made.
So just to catch us up here, if you dial back about a year or two in episodes, we predicted the Rotten Tomatoes score. Now Dale coming in low, he lowballed the shit
did.
out of Uncharted.
I knew it was
Did-
gonna be bad.
He got it right.
Dale gave it a 30, and did okay
That's
despite
pretty good.
having never played
Good
an
job, Dale.
Uncharted game, or have you?
And then Rotten Tomatoes currently has it as a 40. Is that right?
Yeah, 40. You're right. Yeah. Let's see. Jeremy next up on at 60, so close-ish.
Credible. Like I think that's a decent guess, but still, having seen the ads now, at least I'm like, oof, that was too high.
And Legrand splitting the difference. That's me, by the way. 70. Splitting the difference between the audience and the critics.
Mhm.
Also, Jared really had high hopes. He really was feeling.
I don't know why either. Jared,
Mark
what prompted
Wahlberg.
you? What possessed you?
It was probably just a troll vote. I've never played an Uncharted game, and I'm almost certainly never going to watch this movie. So,
It's a 75. What if you were? Jared said 75. What if you were on a plane from Dallas to New York, and that was all that was available? Would you watch it?
Would watch the movies or videos that I had downloaded for myself.
Listen,
Hey,
Uncharted is
I
the
plan
perfect
ahead.
plane movie. It's the perfect plane movie because if you fall asleep, you don't care.
Like there's no
if
downside.
the pilot comes on is like yammering and you miss part of the movie,
Yeah.
You don't
or
care.
or somebody comes for
Here's
drink
the deal
service.
with plane movies. The last movie I watched on a plane, it was one of those where it was like the screen was like there's only like at the bulkheads, like a bigger TV screen, and so
Oh,
you
yeah.
just watched what was there.
Shared screen.
like the
It
bus
was-
TVs from like the 90s.
Yeah, it was Rob Roy, which is like this really weird.
Oh.
It was so bad.
No, that's
I'm
good.
like,
That's
I swore
romantic.
off-
That's a good
I
one.
swore off airplane
Isn't that like
movies.
Liam
forever.
Neeson?
I don't know, man.
Hey, you know what? The last one I don't think I told you guys this. I watched the Monster Hunter movie
Oh, dude, I watched
on
it
an
too.
airplane.
Huh.
That's not good.
I
I watched
watched
it in.
it-
I watched
it
it
the
in
day
Spanish.
we talked about it. We were talking about it on
Really?
the Discord, and I was working and I turned it on next to me.
Just watched it.
Yep.
I watched it in Spanish without any subtitles, and I caught about 60%, 70% of what was
think
going
the,
on.
the last
Oh, so you caught 100%
movie-
of the story. Perfect.
Yeah,
the last
exactly.
one
It
that
was-
I know for sure that I saw on a plane was the movie Vice about Dick Cheney.
Okay.
Wow.
There you go.
I usually
Yeah.
watch documentaries on the plane. Whatever they have in the documentary channel on Delta, that's what I watch. Something there.
I still do the Game Byte Show Switch challenge, and I asked the guy next to me, like, "Hey, you want to play Mario
You
Party?"
want to play ARMS? He's alphaing his way over already, and you look at him and you look down at his arm sitting on your armrest, and you're in the center seat, by the way.
That's
And you
right.
say, "Hey, you want to play ARMS?"
I always
Yeah.
book the center seat.
And if that person
course.
ignores you, you lean over to the other person and ask them.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to play arms with this
Can we
guy?
borrow? Okay, middle guy, can we borrow your seat tray so we can set up our Switch? You think you'd be down with that?
Yeah, the Game Byte Show challenge doesn't really it doesn't keep. It doesn't hold up well. But I stick with it. I do what I can.
Yeah. There's plenty of Nintendo Switches around, and everyone who's not playing a Nintendo Switch on the plane is not playing so because they don't want to look like the guy with a Nintendo Switch on the plane.
You know what I got to do? I got to lean into that. I got to get my Super Switch on there. I got to take it off my headboard and mount it to the back of the seat of the person in front of me.
I want you to take your Oculus Quest and just set up.
Oh man,
shop.
I'm gonna draw my little play area. It's gonna be like about that big.
Yeah.
No, you can use the whatever. it
All
is,
he
the
can do is
seating.
head wiggle.
Yeah,
And then just about the time you start is when they're going to bring the little drink cart through. And
I won't even take the mask off. I'll be like ginger ale and a Biscoff cookie, please.
I like to dip it.
That's right. Swish it in my mouth, gargle it.
Oh,
I always stay awake on the
boy.
airplane.
Boy, howdy. One of the best intros we've ever had to the show. Thank you for that.
Too
Jeremy.
real.
Your
Too
ginger
real.
ale and your Biscoff cookie. Uh,
That's legit what I get though.
yeah, my next plane trip is in April, so I will order that. At least that I have planned. Let's see. Today, guys, we have some video games to talk about. I have to talk a little bit about a game that I talked about last week because that's all I've played.
Oh, yeah.
But I have some additional things to talk about with Lost Ark. At the time of this recording, and according to Steam, I have played this game for 43 and a half hours, which
That's a lot.
shit, man, that's a lot of time, especially in like a week and a half or less.
Think of all the good things you could have done in this world.
Probably a lot. Probably
Let's
a
see
lot.
how many how much I've put into it. I have put in 10 hours.
You
Okay.
could have built like 43 houses for humanity or whatever. And
I mean, Jared could have
Mhm.
built 10. What do you want from us, man? We play video games. That's what we do.
True. Don't ask me how much time I spent in Outlands, but
Yeah. Okay. Well, so Lost Ark, if you recall our last week's discussion, I was pretty high on Lost Ark, and I will say that I still am pretty positive on Lost Ark overall. However, I have some beefs.
Uh-oh.
43 hours in. By the way, I'm still not at max level at 43 hours.
Terrible game, 300 hours.
And I just unlocked the boat to drive around to islands and stuff like that, which is like how you get to
Spoilers.
different continents.
It's like
Spoilers.
Animal Crossing.
It's like when you log in and like the push start to play screen is like you on a ship, yet you're never on a ship in the game until 43 hours into the game. Right, Jared?
yep.
Accurate.
I just got unlocked gathering.
Oh, okay.
At 10
That's
hours,
exciting.
so.
That's exciting. And fishing and all that. You can do all that stuff.
wait a second. Isn't this game all about like getting loot and having crazy armor and
Yeah.
magical abilities and stuff? And then how is it that you have to be like level
So-
43 before you get a boat?
So let me explain that the fishing is actually the exact same fishing mechanic from Animal Crossing.
Wow.
You run up to water, you hit a button, you wait till a fish comes up and the little lure goes under it, and as soon as it does, you hit the button again and you fished.
How about that?
It's kind of like the fishing game in real life too.
It's not like an analog to the Animal Crossing fishing. It is literally the exact same. So,
Whoop.
yeah.
So Lost Ark, here's the thing, Dale, and I'll tell you, this game does not play. The loot in Lost Ark is not like Diablo.
There's not that much of it, to be honest.
Stuff is dropping all the time, but none of it is really useful because
none of it is
where you get your loot mostly is from dungeons. So you'll run a dungeon every couple levels, and you basically gear yourself out with some pretty decent gear from that dungeon. And maybe occasionally you'll fight some sort of elite monster as part of a scenario or another quest.
Like a
and
Dungeness
you'll get
crab?
What was that?
Like a Dungeness crab?
Yes, exactly like a Dungeness crab. Not a New York king crab.
Mm-hmm.
Alaskan king crab. Dang it. Wrong coast. Anyway, so the loot is a little bit different. It's not as exciting. And the game, what I've come to find about this game is that the story is mediocre to fine. It's a mediocre story, fantasy setting story. It's fine. It gets the job done, I suppose.
You don't really need a story
I
for
rate
this
it
type of
at,
game.
well, it seems to sort of exist.
Yes. There are some pretty cool storylines that you have not yet got to, Jared.
Okay.
So I would.
I'm
I'm not going to tell you to play this game for 30 hours to get to that point, but there are some pretty cool stuff that happens. Some pretty cool scenarios that you go through. There's this one where you're assaulting a keep, and it's pretty badass. There's a dungeon where you're basically fighting a big, like a big fire, like an Ifrit from Final Fantasy.
Okay.
But you're like climbing this tower at the same time, and so you're fighting them at these different levels.
Pretty good.
And there's some pretty cool set pieces.
I do like the mission story beats where you go into an area and it's kind of like an instanced.
The little
it's not like a
scenarios or
dungeon.
whatever.
It's like a scenario, and then when you're done, that becomes like a camp, and there's like people in it and vendors and stuff. I do like that. It makes you feel like you did something.
Yeah. So
Reclaim the city.
The problem with Lost Ark for me is that the combat is very good. And it's a lot of fun. There's lots of cool things you can do to your abilities. There's lots of builds you can create. You have 8 skills at any given time, where in Diablo you only have 4, so there's a difference there. And the combat is very good, in so much that the best times you have in the game are running through the dungeons, which outside of being the place where you do a lot of combat, they're actually very pretty to look at. They're well designed. The set pieces and the encounters are pretty bombastic and awesome. The problem is that between dungeon and dungeon, or scenario and scenario, or these other major parts, the rest of the questing is as bare bones and boring and lackluster as any game I've ever played.
It's like talk to this guy, and you go through whatever he says. It's unimportant. And the next step is talk to this other guy who's like 10 steps over there, and then he sends you back to talk to the original guy. Yeah,
this happens over and over. And
over.
I think this is just an aspect of Korean RPG storytelling, but
classic quest design there.
Yeah, but so here's the other part. So there's those types of quests, which are basically run around and talk to people quests, and then sometimes they'll say, okay, you need to go out and kill these bad guys. And you know how in like an MMO proper, like World of Warcraft or Guild Wars, or not Guild Wars, but a game where it's like, hey, here's a quest, go and kill 10 boars and come back to me, right? Well, these quests are like kill one guy. Like one pack of dudes comes up, you AoE them down in about 5 seconds, and you're done with that quest. Like there's no like exploring around the world doing that. And the same thing goes with a little fetch quest. Like, hey, go gather some flowers. You need 10 flowers and bring them back to me so I can make potions. Well, in this game, your gathering quests are 1 flower. And so you walk up, you gather. And so
isn't that a good thing?
It's a good thing, but the part of it is that all the quests at that point feel like, hey, we're building this as an MMO. We need some filler content. This game needs to take 60 hours to get to the end game. What do we do? Put all this bullshit in. And it's quite frankly the worst part of the game, because again, the story is mediocre to fine. And so that's what you're getting in these little in-between quests are the mediocre to fine bits of the game. Whereas the combat, the systems, the stronghold stuff I've been getting into, the boat stuff, Like all that stuff is so good and cool and that's why I'm hoping that by the end of the game, like any MMO, the game kind of opens up and that's where you get your grind. That's where you get your
Grant, does it
things
kind
to
of make you
do.
want like you know how Diablo 3 has the adventure mode where you just ignore any of the story stuff and you're just constantly running dungeons and quests and stuff? Does it kind of make you want that?
Yeah, but the thing is like that adventure mode is. I mean, Diablo 3 is an interesting game where the story doesn't matter, and the leveling doesn't matter. Like the game, you play a class and you get to the end game and you get to level 70 or whatever, and that's all you do is level 70 stuff.
And then you're just gearing up.
Yeah, and then you're just gearing up. This game is like, yes, except for getting to that point is also 50 hours long or whatever it ends up taking me. So that's the thing with Lost Ark. I'm hoping and I have a feeling that by the end of the game, at the end where there is no more of these bullshit run around quests, I'm gonna get thrown into this free to play MMO grind that's gonna be, run these dungeons and reputation and that kind of bullshit. And as you know, like when I play MMOs, I play until I'm bored, and if the end game turns boring, then I stop playing. And that's basically the end of that MMO run until another expansion or whatever. But
so is that the sweet spot, you think? Do you think that will be the sweet spot for this?
I think that's what this game is focused to. Like to the point where once you hit the max level and you get done with the main story quest, they give you 2 items that allow you to boost 2 additional characters to that max level and basically skip that whole leveling process. It is quick to level through the game if you aren't actually reading story quests or watching cutscenes. You can just kind of mash through and skip everything. And I mean, that's fine. But again, then what's the point, And so the game really wants you to have several alt characters at the end of the game that you're kind of playing with and kind of managing, because that feeds into the whole end game grind of your Stormhold upgrades and your crafting and the boat stuff and, those types of things. So anyway, I'm still playing it, obviously, and I'm going to continue playing it because I'm level 40 or 41, so I'm pretty close to the end of the game as far as the main content goes. And then I'll let you know how the extra stuff is. Should be okay, I guess.
Very good.
Awesome.
GeForce Now support, please.
Yeah, have you tried to run it on your machine proper? Or
no, I'm not even going to try it. It's going to be 70 gigabytes of. I'm not going to be able to run it, basically.
Yeah, GeForce Now support would be perfect.
Yeah,
it would be awesome.
It does have controller support as well, so I'm curious if they bring it to console.
Oh, that's good.
I
like
actually played it the other day using Steam's streaming over Wi-Fi or whatever. So it was like running on my desktop, and I was on my Surface.
Worked
Pretty
good.
great. It was awesome.
Great.
Yeah, good with the controller. Nice.
I was using the mouse and keyboard still, but I don't know.
He was using the Surface Pro touchscreen.
It was this foldy keyboard thing.
Is this game on xCloud yet?
No.
No, it should be everywhere.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's a free to play game. I'm sure it'll come to all the things now that Amazon's behind it, and it's pretty popular.
It'll be exclusive to Luna.
Yeah. Well, here's what I've been playing on my remote service of my choice, which actually is a little bit of both, and you guys may want to get in on this. I've been playing Rainbow Six Extraction. Exclusively been playing it on GeForce Now. It's available, of course, on PC and console, and it actually is on xCloud, so it is on Microsoft Game Pass. And I want to mention to you that and here's the thing.
Weird. Okay.
Before I talk about the game at all, I want to tell you that if you go to your Ubisoft account and you do the Ubisoft Connect thing, and you link your Microsoft account to Ubisoft, it lets you play. It sort of gives you the license to play Extraction, and then you sort of get to keep it on the Ubisoft platform, as far as I can tell.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, and then I've just been playing it on PC on GeForce Now basically the entire time.
It's not on Xbox Game Pass.
Are you sure? Because I mean, if they changed it, I don't know. But if you link your
I have to link my account.
Yeah, you have to link your account to Ubisoft, and then that gives you whatever access to Ubisoft, and then you can just link it to GeForce Now, and you can just play it right from there.
How do I do that?
I've been doing. Just go to Ubisoft. Yeah, just go to Ubisoft, and you can link it up there.
I'll report back in 5 minutes. Keep talking.
Yeah, it took me a long time to figure it out, but yeah, you can do it. So Rainbow Six Extraction is basically a kind of a new evolution of an idea of Rainbow Six Siege. The idea is that rather than being PvP, it is cooperative PvE, squads of 3, and you play with the same operators that you do in Rainbow Six Siege, and they all have different abilities, and these are abilities that are tailor made. So the idea of Rainbow Six Extraction is that there's this these spores or something, like these Achaeans, these alien, entities that come from funguses and stuff.
Basically that mode that they did like limited in Rainbow Six Siege a while ago.
Yeah, they did a mode, and they have expanded it and have done a whole bunch of stuff with it that I think is really interesting. Let me give you the kind of the basic fundamental idea. First person XCOM is basically what it is, which is pretty good. Now you do play the same maps over and over again. And the idea is that every map is broken down into 3 distinct kind of sectors. And each sector has a different goal, a different objective, and they progressively get more difficult as you move from Sector 1 to Sector 2 to Sector 3. And those objectives can be randomized. They can be things like do a takedown attack on a particular bad guy, an elite bad guy, to get a DNA sample or something. Do recon some sort of spore generator, do a stealth takedown of 10 different spores or something, just whatever it is, they'll just kind of throw those at you. You might even also extract some survivors or even your operators. So the cool thing, I think this is cool, but it's kind of frustrating, is that your operators are expendable, kind of like real time. So if you do a mission, and these are difficult, so it's one of those things where it's like any given encounter that you have, you're going to be at risk of getting severely harmed. And you can go down once and somebody can revive you, but then after that, your operator is MIA. You can then no longer use that operator until you choose a different operator and come back in and rescue that operator ostensibly from being captured. At that point, the operator goes back into your active roster, but you have to wait for him or her to be healed. And furthermore, if you just have an operator who is hurt significantly during a mission, that operator, just kind of like an XCOM where someone is off the active roster for 2 weeks or whatever, you have to wait for that operator to heal. So that's the way that they kind of encourage you, sort of in the same way that weapons are destructible in Breath of the Wild or whatever. Your operators are destructible in this, and you kind of have to either rescue them if they get captured, if you go KIA, or if you get hurt enough, then you have to wait for them to come back. So the idea is that you would cycle through all of these different operators, all of whom have different abilities. They have just different things to detect bad guys, or some of them are healers or whatever, and so they kind of want you to cycle through those guys. The way the missions work is that when you get into a zone, you basically at that point are pretty much stealthing around. So in the same way that Rainbow Six Siege is very much based on, hey, move slowly, because if you run too fast, people are going to hear you. These bad guys are going to hear you, and they are going to alert other bad guys. And the spores, they start to grow when they get alerted. The spores themselves, they're just like little enemy generators, and they're inert unless you trigger them somehow, either by getting a bad guy who yells or whatever. And then they start producing this fungus stuff. It basically just grows dynamically over the walls and the floor, and it slows you down. You can shoot at it and it'll clear it, but it slows you down. And if any bad guys are standing on the fungus, they get buffs. Basically, they become more deadly, they're harder to kill, and generally speaking, you don't want to run in there guns blazing. You want to try and stealth as much as you can, be aware of your surroundings at all times, stay together as a squad. And as you go through the game, your operators will level up their abilities, you'll discover new technology, and also the bad guys, then they'll learn from you, quote unquote, they'll learn from you. So new different kinds of bad guys come at you, and they're all sorts of different things. Like there's some that just run at you and hack at you. There are some that have distance attacks. There are some that crawl along the floor and they'll like lay down little mines and stuff. And all of them have these weak spots. Some of them might be on the head, but some of them are in like the center of the torso or whatever. And if you can score a hit on those, it's like a one-shot kill. So you can like stealth kill them and whatever. But usually what ends up happening is if you're not careful, it just becomes this cascade of badness that, more guys come at you. The mechanics are still intact from Rainbow Six, where you can break through walls, you can shoot through walls, you can fortify walls to stop bad guys from coming through. So all of that's still there. You can still do your recon with your little RC car type thing. You can still send that out, and for some reason the aliens never really care that there's an RC car like hopping up and taking pictures of them and stuff like that. Whatever. And then once you clear a zone, you go into like an airlock, and it airlocks you into the next zone, and so it's totally set off from the previous zone. At any point,
like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Except it's a little less like, hey, you've gone to a level. It's more like this is the first part of the level. So they might load some stuff in, but it's not like loading screens and stuff. It's fairly organic. And then the other thing is that at any point you can choose to evac instead of progressing through the next section. So if you lose a guy, you really got to think hard, and you can actually evac one of your squad mates. So if you leave the squad mate, then for that person, that on his or her roster, then they have to then send in a sortie to get somebody back out, or you can pick them up and take them to a little extractor. And everybody, when they fall down dead, they like get covered in this foam stuff to protect them from the fungus, from the mold or whatever, and you can just pick them up and go carry them to an extractor, at which point they get to keep their character on the roster, but they just have to wait for it to be healed. Is it good? I like it. I actually really, once I kind of figured out that I was basically playing a first-person XCOM game for all the good and the difficult reasons. I mean, it's not a very forgiving game. Any one or two dudes, like if you are getting rushed by a couple of guys, that's enough to take you out. If you are not aware that someone is coming up behind you, you better find out quick. Otherwise, they're going to take you out. So in the same way that in XCOM, you got to be very methodical about your approach to the level, or you got to be really confident and know what you're doing before you rush in. The same thing applies here. I like the idea that you have the technology that you research. I like the idea of the aliens that kind of do different things. I actually think it really works. And if you guys, I know that, Dale, you even played Siege, I think, at some point. I don't know if you really cared for it or not.
I played a ton of Siege.
But Jared definitely did. LeGrand definitely did.
I actually played this mode. This mode was actually a special limited time game mode they had in the game.
Yep. And that's what Jared mentioned.
And then it was popular, I guess. And
I like this a lot. Like, I would not really be interested in sitting down to play Rainbow Six Siege unless like one of you guys begged me to do it. This though,
we're not going to beg you. You're real bad at it.
Yeah, no, I'm not good. But this is kind of cool, and I like the idea that it's PvE. I like the idea that there are some risks, but it's never enough that you are just like completely screwed from playing the game. Your operators heal up enough, and you can go get them without too much trouble. It seems to me that when I have an operator that's missing, the next mission that I go to, one of the 3 objectives is going to be to take somebody out. And the way that you rescue someone is they have this whole thing where the aliens have put them inside this like tree of woe or something like that, where they like all of these like icky organic umbilical cords are like pumping stuff into it. And so you have to shoot the umbilical cords, and there's a whole mini game to like try and extract the person, but you can fail. Like the tree can like close up if you're not mindful. And while you're doing that, like Left 4 Dead, like dudes are going to come at you because whatever you're doing alerts people. And so you've got to have a couple of somebodies to shoot everybody off while you're trying to actually do the thing, and it takes a couple minutes to do it. So I know for some people that kind of risk is not pleasing, but I think that it's just difficult and challenging enough that it adds some risk so that the stakes are important when you're going in there. But I also like the fact that the people that you're playing with who are like really into it are on your team. Like, you're not playing against bros who are just playing nothing but this and they're out to hunt your head. You're actually playing with
I like
them.
modes like this. I mean, Rainbow Six Vegas, like, had Terrorist Hunt or whatever it is. Those
awesome.
modes are always pretty cool.
Yeah. Try this, and if you can, if you have Xbox Game Pass, go to the Ubisoft. You link it from Ubisoft.
It wasn't working.
Was it not?
It said I had already done it or something, and it's not on my Xbox account.
Huh. Well, so it's not Xbox that you would play. So you should be able to play it from Xbox. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's on Game Pass. But the idea here is that you would add it to your Ubisoft account. And then I've been playing it on GeForce Now through Ubisoft Connect. So I've been playing it through my Ubisoft.
Oh, so I have it on Ubisoft.
Yeah. So when you link it, it goes into your Ubisoft account. And you can download it and play it from there. Or, like I said, I've just been loading it up in GeForce
That's what
Now.
was wrong.
You're doing it backwards. Yeah, so you should be able to
I was
play
looking
from
on Game
Xbox
Pass for
anytime.
the game.
And there is cross-play. You can turn that on or off if you want, but I turn it on and it hasn't been a problem. Yeah, I really like it. I don't know that I would play it over and over again, but every once in a while I get the bug and I play through 3 or 4 matches and I enjoy myself. I think it's great.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Yeah, it's on xCloud as well. I was just looking at it on there.
yeah, try it out.
What the hell? Oh, it probably
yeah.
because the console.
In fact,
version,
we
I
could
guess.
all try it out. Oh my gosh. Well, 3 of us
Whoa.
could. Yeah. Like I'll watch you guys. You guys can all play it. And that's it. Rainbow Six Extraction. It's good times.
Cool. Dale, what's going on, man?
Everyone's trying to figure this out.
The biggest game release this week, Total War Warhammer 3 has come out.
It's very exciting.
And it's also on Game Pass, PC
Whoa.
Game Pass. So I was like, all right, this is cool. I'm gonna check it out, despite not having played either of the first 2 Total War Warhammer games.
Have you played any Total War games?
I've played Shogun 2 and Rome 2.
Okay.
And not too long ago, I actually tried to hammer out a whole campaign of Shogun 2.
Oh yeah.
And it went real bad. I
Really?
overextended.
I think Shogun is always
myself,
my favorite. I always like Shogun.
I got like my whole army killed in one battle. It was terrible.
Oh man.
Perfect.
But so far I'm just playing through the tutorial of Warhammer 3, and it has you playing as these guys from the North country, like the kind of like Norse type of people. They're more like Russian type of people. They're from a place called Kislev, and they're venturing north into the Chaos Wastes in order to, I don't know, do something. And the
Sounds great.
The first couple of missions have you, it's a tutorial, right? So it's like, click on your guy, now click over here. But then it takes you through a couple of battles, and it's like you gotta this guy called the Wolf and his marauders are like attacking this fortress, and so you got to kind of attack them from behind while the fortress is also defending, right? And so you take them out, and then it teaches you how to upgrade your character or whatever. Then you go on to the next battle, and you fight a full pitched battle against the leader of the marauders again, and then that's when it teaches you how to put your guys on the high ground and arrange them so that the spear guys are in the front and the archers are in the back, that sort of thing. And then in the third mission, it was like, okay, now you've routed that guy, and now he's holed up in like the fortress that they took over, and so now you got to go and get him out of the fortress and go and storm the fortress and kill that guy, and so I've done that, right? And then it's still keeping on with like the tutorial campaign, which by the way it recommends that you do if you're new to the game, right? And so the next stage of the tutorial campaign is going to be like delving a little bit further into the Chaos Wastes to a part where it starts to be all like I guess the word is just like, I don't know, it's tainted into the flavor of the chaos god Tzeentch. And so that's like one of the big 4, right? And so you're gonna like storm the crystal caves or something, and the whole point is basically to free the bear god Ursun, who is like the patron god of this like northern Kislev nation. I don't really know a whole lot about Warhammer Fantasy, but
you've already lost me. I mean,
and that's the setting where this one is. But as far as my experience with other Total War games, it seems kind of like the same sort of thing. Like you're on a real-time strategy tactical battle map, and you're like selecting your units and kind of drawing them into formation on the ground, and then like telling them to go over there and fight these guys. You guys hold here. Archers go in the woods. So you're
right.
hidden,
Rock, paper, scissors.
all that kind of stuff. But it does seem like it's got. I mean, these games are extremely iterative, right? Like they've come out with a Total War game like every year for the past 25 years or something like that.
Yeah,
That's what it seems like.
And the Warhammers have kind of all built on each other. 3 looks really great. I'm really excited for it.
I'm thinking it's pretty cool so far. The only thing that has me a little bit kind of disappointed so far is that the graphics don't really look any better than Shogun 2, and that's like a 10-year-old game now.
Yeah.
Is it just I don't know, maybe it's just that I run them on the same video card or something, but like I don't know, for all the time that has passed, it doesn't seem like the
So a lot of what they get bottlenecked with is AI of all the different units and everything. So
yeah.
they have made him. I think they've made improvements. I think a lot of
Have they made that?
the the animations and stuff are better, but yeah, the overall just number of polygons on the screen is probably about the same.
I think so, because you are talking like thousands of
and they're all
models
like
on the screen.
individually animated, and if you zoom in on them, like they'll actually be fighting each other and their animations will be in sync. So it's actually kind of impressive if you really get into it. By the way, I got the Rainbow Six extraction thing to work.
Nice.
But
mine's already installed, boy.
As far as like
I did it through GeForce Now.
The
sweet.
All the thousands of animated soldiers on the Total War battlefield. You're absolutely right. And with Warhammer, it gets really crazy because you have like giants. You have like all these like weird demon type of things. You have like units of various different sizes, and like you get these weird like demon-driven chariot cannon.
And like crazy like flying units, and you get like crazy spell effects, and it's pretty cool.
But also, I think Warhammer is a really good match for this game because these games have always also had like a hero unit or like a leader, right? And so your leader is there to buff the morale and other parameters of the units that you have. And in a historical setting, I mean, like that kind of makes a certain amount of sense. But when you can really play up the like mythical hero stuff, like and plus you got magical spells and things that you can do as well. It's like it just seems like a really good match to what you want to be seeing.
It is a really good fit, and Creative Assembly has done just a fantastic job with the whole series. I think the biggest improvements for me, other than the new factions, which do look pretty cool, is the siege battles. I don't know if you've done any of those yet, but they've really
I haven't done a siege yet.
They've improved those back to sieges in Total War games used to be the town, like the city, you could go all around it, and all of that, and then in the Warhammer franchise, they kind of did away with that, and like cities were like only on one side of the map, so there's only like one wall to assault and stuff, and they've kind of gone back to more of a classical siege setting, which is really exciting because it just opens up those strategic options. So that looks just really cool to me.
Yeah, so far so good. It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to actually like seeing the main game open up and then getting to a point where you can choose one of the, I don't know how many factions there are. But that looks fun.
I'm holding out until they bring in Mortal Realms, which is where they took the two Warhammer 1 and 2 and
Age of
combined
Sigmar.
it. Yeah, well, it took the Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2 and combined it into one large campaign map. And it was really great. So you could play, if you owned both, you unlocked all the factions. And
I wonder if is that the plan for 3 as well?
I think it is. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. But it's not in the launch, so I'm waiting.
Huh. Okay. Well, I know this the series is obviously popular with PC strategy gamers. This sub series of the the Warhammer one has been extremely popular as well. So I think they've been pretty successful with these, and I know the others have had like a good solid 2 or 3 years of DLC each, support. So the future's probably looking pretty decent for this one too.
Yeah, and they've done really neat stuff with the DLC. I like the way they do it. Whenever they release a paid DLC, they release free DLC along with it. So everybody always gets something. And then if you pay the $10 or whatever, you also get like new lords, new mechanics, stuff like that. And just a correction, it's called Mortal Empires is the name of the mode, and it is confirmed, but there's no date for when it'll release.
So I wonder if does that make the first couple of games obsolete then? Like, should you just play the newest one, or?
Well, I mean, yes and no. So what you'll find when you get into the main campaigns is they are less like the historical medieval Total Wars, where it's
Mhm.
just like, here's your faction, conquer the world.
Manage an empire.
There's actual like quests to do. So like each faction has like goals to accomplish
okay.
more than just hold these areas, right?
Right.
And so Mortal Empires kind of does away with those. Like it is just the sort of the classic version of Total War, where
The
it's
Total
like,
War.
here's a
Okay.
big map, go have fun. So I think if you wanted to, I don't think it obsoletes like say Warhammer 2 because of those mechanics. And then if you wanted to play any of the races like the elves or dark elves from Warhammer
From the
2, you
first
need to own it anyway. So
Oh, I
Hmm.
see. Okay, yeah.
mhm.
But I was like, I wonder if I would go back to the first game to play the campaign of whatever race is in there. If it's any different from like if that race has a campaign in the third game.
Yeah. So I don't think any of the previous races will have tailored campaigns in the future
Oh,
games.
interesting. Okay.
So yeah,
Yes,
you
that kind
would
of makes
want to go
sense.
back and do that.
That,
Like
yeah,
in
you would play all three. Yeah, cool. Well, so aside from that, I've been playing a little bit more Elite Dangerous. I just every so often I like to jump back in and pilot my ship. And at this point, I've started tracking toward the center of the galaxy, and I've discovered a new technique to let me basically jump probably about 4 to 5 times the distance in light years as I normally am able to do, and that is that when you find a neutron star, which are very distinctive looking in the game, and they have these like pulsar jet streams that come out of each side of them. You can then like pilot your ship into one of the jet streams, and it'll supercharge your hyperdrive so that you can then jump. I've been able to jump out up to almost about 200 light years
That's a
in
lot
one
of
go.
superlatives for one drive, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Good stuff. But as long as I'm able to, there's something in this game they call the Neutron Star Highway or the Neutron Highway, and it's basically just like regions of the galaxy where the algorithm has generated more neutron stars, and that they're um, close enough together that you can basically jump from one to the next and just kind of speed yourself along, right?
It's like
Because
Rainbow Road in Mario Kart that you're gonna fall off the edge if you're not careful, and then
you can,
have to
yeah,
reset.
you gotta make sure you fall off somewhere where there's a fuel star so you can top your tank off and then get right back on.
Or at least a Lakitu to kind of bring you back on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're called the fuel rats in Elite. But yeah,
Same idea.
making more or less, yeah. And they are actually a player-driven organization. It's
Oh wow.
not a game thing. It's like it's UGC. The
Huh.
fuel rats are.
How about that?
So yeah, shout out to the fuel rats out there.
Fuel
I've never
rats.
needed to call upon their services because I am good at this game. But it's good to know that they're out there. So
Very good.
yep,
Nice.
that's me.
Oh,
Jared,
man.
I've been waiting for this for a long
Okay,
time. I
so-
want to hear all about what you're bringing.
So let's stay on the space theme because both games I'm going to talk about today
Oh, yeah.
are definitely space games and very kind of closely related in terms of their headspace that they occupy. So I have been playing now for a couple of weeks. I almost said Warhammer, but that's not correct. It's Homeworld Mobile. So this was announced when Gearbox and Blackbird, I think is the name of the developer, announced
Blackbird Interactive.
Homeworld 3. And they also simultaneously announced Homeworld Mobile. And it's out in limited beta, I think.
I signed up for it. I still haven't seen it yet.
Still haven't seen it. So it is a Homeworld. That's what I'm going to say. So the sound and the visuals and obviously kind of the story that comes along with it is all very much rooted in the Homeworld lore. The sound in particular, and I can't believe I'm sitting here. It's 2022, y'all, and I'm sitting here talking about sound in a mobile game, but there you have it. They really nailed it, right? Like the kind of the echoey orchestral soundtrack and the chatter of your strike craft as they home in on targets and things like that. The sound of the beam weapon boom as they like
Yeah.
power up. It's all really good and
Was that,
really
was that a
truthful.
lightsaber?
Yeah, it's like boom. It's like a really long duration, like laser beam that they fire sometimes, and it's really good. So it is at the end of the day still a mobile game that I think I'm gonna guess is gonna be free, and they'll in-app purchases is what's gonna power this bad boy. So you start off with like a explorer carrier. It's not like it's kind of like your mothership, but it's not as cool as like the Homeworld mothership. Um, and you do things like you attack pirates and retrieve probes and you mine asteroids, and there's a story, so you're kind of jumping around, hyperdriving around and completing the story. It's got a whole galaxy and a bunch of
Is it actually Homeworld 1?
Yeah,
Or-
I want to know, is it like a
No.
big boy version of this game, or like what's the?
It is a totally new concept, and it plays. Have any of you guys played Stellaris Mobile?
Yes, I didn't like it.
No.
Okay. It is similar to that in terms of the sort of sim/strategy.
Yeah, because it
games
was
that are
mostly
popular.
like I'm building onto a thing and like adding modules and stuff.
Yeah, so there's not so much of, well, there's kind of that. So you have like your mothership, if you will. You can upgrade it. So I actually have 3 right now and a 4th that I'm working on the resources to build. And you can build a capital class like support vessels, like assault frigates and beam frigates and that kind of stuff. And then you can build, resource harvesters and interceptors and plasma bombers and laser corvettes and all of the similar types of vehicles from the other games. And then when you are playing in the moment, like in battle, it has that like zoomed out view, that like radar tactical view. But it's all on a 2D plane. So you can like freely drag your ships around. You can assign them groups. You can give them guard actions, attack actions, all that kind of stuff. Certain officers that you can unlock and have you can assign to different parts of the ship can unlock special abilities like heals or rapid fire for your guns for a short duration and things like this. You can really customize the ships, so you get hard points like medium, small, large hard points for your weapons, and you can like swap those in and out. So if you think of like say Eve Online, where you have just like say 4 weapon hard points, you can put whatever weapons you want in there. You can put long range weapons, you can put short range weapons, you can put a healing turret in there, things like that to do more support, which is kind of cool. So there's options there. You have to like research things and buy stuff and build stuff and refine it, and a lot of that starts to become very mobile free-to-play game-esque. So it's like I'll start research and it'll be done in 10 hours, and it's like you can use special green coins, I don't even know what they are, to speed it up if you want, but okay. And that's where you're at. So I've been popping on every a couple times a day and just kind of like updating stuff and running a few missions. So far it's showing its beta teeth. The missions are all very similar. There's like 4 and kind of repetitive, but everything else is pretty good. So I'm kind of
that's
curious
good
to see how it comes out.
I went
it's
looking
a fun
to see. I went looking to see what my prospects were to play this, and it's actually it's not even listed anywhere. But I did happen to find like at least one Russian knockoff that came out a couple months ago, so I'm going to try that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Accurate experience.
And it really kind of struck the vibe of Homeworld so much that it actually drew me to another game that's not affiliated with it in any way. But boy, let's talk about Nebulous Fleet Command. Not a very good game name, but it is a really cool game. So did anyone play Nexus: The Jupiter Incident?
I think I loaded it once, but
oh my gosh, one of my favorite space strategy games, like of all time. And this game feels like a beautiful melding of the full 3D movement, of Homeworld, the detailed system management of Nexus, the Jupiter incident, and a splash of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, which is kind of a more recent game that's come out where you build battleships and like you can customize them and swap things out and then unleash them on each other, right? So this game is a space strategy game, and let's say it's rooted in hard science, right? So it's got a ton
Let's
going.
say it is.
Let's just say it is for now. And when I say that, I mean when you command your ships to like take like say fly around an asteroid, like a
Right.
really big like space rock, for example, they're gonna start being in all kinds of weird orientations that at first wouldn't make any sense, but only if they were flying on Earth with gravity. So, you know, when they accelerate, they have to decelerate, and they have engines on the front to do that, but they're not as big as the ones on the back. So sometimes they'll rotate to use the larger engines.
Yep.
Their guns have to actually be like if it's a direct fire weapon, like a cannon, it has to actually be pointing at your target. So if you issue move orders and fire orders, it may be doing this weird like side shimmy as it moves to get its guns into a proper firing arc because they're all over the spacecraft. When you go to look at your targets, if your target is not on your imaginary horizontal plane that's been determined by the orientation of your ship, it isn't just like out a distance and up a distance. It's out a distance and up a distance at a curve, because to measure the distance from one object to the other is a straight line, not up and right. So it's very interesting. It's got mechanics like high explosive shells, armor piercing. Ships have armor. You can custom design your ships, so you get to like kind of build your fleet as you go. They're just missiles, but you know, if you have a missile system that has 16 tubes, think of it like modern submarines. That's it. You have 16 missiles until you can make it back to port to rearm them. Make them count, right? Exactly. So they're very powerful, but you know what? Don't mess around with them. So it is really cool. Kind of has that. It's kind of got kind of a, I don't know, like a almost like a throwback look to it with its graphics. It's kind of simplistic in its visuals. You know, things are all in 3D, but I don't want to say it's like poorly modeled or anything, but it is. They definitely took a very simplistic approach, which I kind of appreciate. Instead of trying to go all out and maybe knowing they couldn't, they just things look cool, but they are maybe a little bit older looking 3D models. But man, there's a ton in here. There's so many like all of the systems. Like your spaceship has radar. Like the little frigates I had 4 radar dishes on them, and so as you take damage, those can get knocked out. And as those get knocked out, you have like poor firing solutions on your target. So it's a really detailed little game. And I love crap like this. I mean, I don't know what to say. Nexus the Jupiter incident. You can find it on sale in various, you know, on GOG and stuff for like $1.
Is that like Jupiter Ascending? Is that the movie that's based on?
Probably not.
I have no idea.
Jupiter?
It
I don't
was
think so.
no. So it was originally slated to be Imperium Galactica 3, but got scrapped and released as a totally separate game, and never followed up on. But it is so cool, and this game really feels like this. Feels like that game in terms of its mechanics. And I just love it. Like if you lose a turret, and this is, you know, Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts can be like this. A random stray shot takes out a turret, and you're like, oh, now I have a third of my firepower, right? Or hits a radar, and suddenly you're missing more often because it's like that you can't get a lock. So now you have to decide: am I going to try to retreat? Do I move closer to get better, you know, like, visual targeting, or what am I going to do here? And really great stuff. Again, full 360 movement. You can move above your targets and below them and around them, and really neat game. It's out on Steam in early access. It's $20, so kind of starts there. It says it has online PvP. I haven't gotten there yet, so no idea what that's like. But the mechanics alone, they got me excited. So Nebulous Fleet Command is what I've been playing this week. It's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Tenuous Fleet Command.
Yeah, exactly. All right, new releases, deals, updates, etc. Blah, 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 we get from tech-gaming.com. So go check them out. There's some pretty big new releases out this week, guys. I don't know if you've ever heard of a little game called Destiny 2, but I guess it has a new expansion out called The Witch Queen. So go check that out.
Destiny 2. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know, right?
Long time.
Man, and randomly one of my kids last week was like, "Hey, let's play Destiny 2." I'm like, "All right, let's go."
From what I hear, it's designed in such a way that I guess some people are calling it Destiny 3 because it basically resets progress of everybody. So anyone could go on and start like right at the.
They are level boosting everybody. Yep.
Don't they do that with every expansion?
They did that on the last one, I know.
Like with WoW and stuff.
Yeah. Another game that you heard first here on the Game Bytes show, literally 10 minutes ago, Total War Warhammer 3 is out now and on Xbox Game Pass. So if you've got that, you can go play it.
But it's not on xCloud. I did check that out. It's on
the PC stuff you have to install.
It is PC exclusive. That is true. Yep. This one I threw on here because I know Dale's a pretty big fan of Assassin's Creed. But the Ezio collection is out on Switch, which is probably a pretty cool way to play those games.
Some pretty good. That's a pretty good era for Assassin's Creed. The Ezio games.
I would agree with that.
So someone mentioned this game that also no one's heard about, Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, whatever.
I was gonna put it in red.
Some kind of cowboy
Switch
game.
Horizon Zero interest.
And then I guess a remake of Final Fantasy 6. I had to do the math there.
I heard they're gonna have actual singing in the opera house scene.
Wow,
that's cool.
Not sure about
that is kind of cool, actually.
I don't know.
Are they gonna actually sing the words? Because if you know the words of that
what I
song,
heard.
it kind of matches up with the audio at least. You totally do it.
Well, you have to go play and find
the
out. Radgametitles.com/switch hashtag PC whatever. The table game.
Riveting.
I
So
hope
good.
that it's like an RPG and you just play as a table and like you level up when someone sets a banana on you.
I remember in so when I was living in Japan, there was this arcade that I would go to, and they had this game called, if I remember right, it was called Cho Chabudai Gaishi, and it was about like being a dad at home, and your family does something to make you upset, and you get pissed off, and you flip the table over, because a lot of Japanese people have like low tables that are like coffee table
And anger management issues.
Yeah. And I just remember thinking, man, that's a crazy game. So I bet this is that game, right?
All right.
I hope it is.
The table game?
It might be. So there
What
you
other
go.
table game could there be?
Maybe you level up when someone puts a banana on you.
Is you give me the
Table
game
simulator.
about like in an Excel sheet and you put in a table in there?
Oh, I love Excel. So deals and freebies, not a ton going on, but I did note here the Steam Next Fest is starting 2/21. That was yesterday for me, through the 28th. So 7 days, tons of demos. I think we talked about it a little later, but a bunch of really cool stuff. I actually saw a couple things I'm probably going to check out while it's going on. So go head over to Steam, check that one out. And there are some new Game Pass additions, notably Madden NFL 22 and Total War Warhammer 3.
Total Warhammer 3.
I know, but they didn't name it that.
The Mass Effect Legendary Edition is out.
Yeah, Mass
as
Effect
well.
is on there.
That's a good one.
Galactic Civilizations 3, which is a great 4X PC game. And then Lawn Mowing Simulator, which I heard was taken off for some reason. I think there may have been some nefarious doings.
I've
I'm not
heard
sure.
some. I mean, those types of games, when they're good for what they are. You know, like the farming simulators and et cetera, et cetera.
I heard it stole some tech from Table Simulator.
The table game.
It was probably like mining Bitcoin in the background or something.
Oh man.
and NFTs.
Yeah.
That's it for new releases and sales. I don't have anything else.
All right, real good. Well, in the news this week, not a whole lot going on, but we'll keep you up to date. This is kind of interesting that Steam is eliminating, due to, I guess, findings in their algorithm, they are making some changes to the sale models to put games on sale on their Steam storefront. And they're actually going to be revising their discount cooldown period, so you just can't constantly, I guess, as a developer or publisher, keep putting games on continual
system.
Yeah, exactly. But furthermore, they're also going to be eliminating the ability for publishers to discount a product by more than 90% or by less than 10%. Which,
What happened to the free reign of the economy, man?
I don't know. I guess they just found that people were just meta discounting.
Do we think this will eliminate where a game is free for 4 days to keep forever, or is that different?
I doubt it. I think it's
those
more
are like demo days or whatever.
Yeah, or even where a game decides to be free. Although I don't know, 100% is more than 90%. So I don't know that.
Because I just picked up something. Ethan Carter or whatever the other day. It was free and you just
I think what is actually happening here is that there are less than scrupulous, because this happens on the Switch all the time, where they'll discount something by 90%. It brings it all the way up into the what's hot or what's trending listings.
If you sort your wish list, you can go in that and you can have your wish list show you things by like the depth of the discount.
Yep.
So like if you do that, like if you're like hunting for deals, you can always like look at like what's got like the 90% discount.
Yeah.
Like, they could be gaming those rankings.
And then what happens is the next week when it's full price, it shows up as like, oh, hot and trending game for full price, but it was because they gave it away for a buck the week before. Yeah. So I'll be interested to kind of see how that goes. I personally enjoy a 90% discount game occasionally, so I don't know there, but anyway. So some of the specifics: you can only launch a discount 28 days at a time. You can't rediscount a game after 4 weeks. You can't discount a product for 28 days following a price increase in any currency. You can't run discounts within 28 days of your prior discount, except with the exception of seasonal events, and so on and so on. So they're basically just kind of working to, I guess, normalize things a little bit. But it seems like at least they're interested in trying to make their storefront not full of crappy, nefarious behavior.
Steam?
Yeah.
I don't. No.
No, you don't think so?
I don't think so. No.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Other storefronts that are making news this week: Nintendo is actually shutting down the Wii U and 3DS eShops starting next year. I think that I heard that they wanted to wait for the 10th anniversary of the Wii U before they did this. So in late March 2023, you will no longer be able to purchase anything on the Wii U or the 3DS storefront, and other free content, demos, and things like that will no longer be able to be downloaded. And they say that for the foreseeable future, that you will be able to re-download games and DLC for things that you've already got attached to your account. So that stuff is okay.
End of an era.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of people pushing back on this, and there are things that are on the Wii U and on the 3DS in particular. I mean, those, though it is interesting that both of those consoles have unique inputs that are not easily ported to other platforms. So there are things that will basically go away.
I heard about a console that, like a retro console that emulates the 3DS touchscreen.
Oh, that is interesting. I mean, technically, you can do it with a PC, right? Like, just click your mouse.
You know what's funny is that these two could emulate each other, because like with the Wii U, with the
two screens,
and
yeah,
the TV, you can have two screens.
That's true. And they
and
never
only one of them is touch.
Maybe they did do some of that a little bit. I don't remember if they did a lot of that, but in any case, you've got a little bit of time. So there are also games on the virtual console, because Nintendo reinvents the virtual console with every new iteration of their hardware. So there are things that are on the virtual console on those platforms that are not currently available as well. So that type of thing I do find to be a little bit sketchy on Nintendo's side. But other game company acquisitions may be in the future. We've been talking about Microsoft and Sony paying big bucks for companies like Activision Blizzard and
Konami. Both.
Exactly. Yeah. Get them both 2 for 1. And I think that started with Take-Two Interactive acquiring Zynga for $13 billion. It's just been kind of going on. And I guess we've made some predictions for the coming year for who may buy whom. But Yves Guillemot, who is the head honcho over at Ubisoft, who has been in a position before where they've been tried, it's been attempted to acquire them.
Vivendi or something?
It might have been Vivendi. I was going to say Buena Vista, but I think it might have been Vivendi. Yeah. And then so they're no stranger to that sort of thing. But I guess they think that they're going to be able to hang on and to resist that. That was in an earnings call a little bit earlier where Yves Guillemot kind of talked to investors and things like that. But it is always possible. And so I just found that kind of interesting that there are big players in the market that may not last, or we're still not through the year, so there's still maybe some more of that going on. And I guess, guys, that's going to do it for the main part of our news. We do have a little bit of speed run news to get going here. Somebody start the music.
Street Fighter 6 announced.
Yeah, that's true.
Excellent.
Pretty good. Speaking of Street Fighter 6, Magic the Gathering is getting some Street Fighter crossover cards.
Why? What?
Because it's a
Fireball.
natural fit.
He just
Dude,
electrifies.
Magic the Gathering has had Fireball since Alpha.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. That's true. It's been around.
Netflix apparently doing a BioShock movie. Would
Not
you
bad.
kindly
Subscribe to the higher price that Netflix is offering this year?
Would you kindly?
Overwatch League will be played next season on an early build of Overwatch 2. That's kind of weird.
That is kind of weird. And I wonder why. I mean, I guess they're just going to roll it out. I've heard that Overwatch 2 is probably not much more than just a kind of regularly trumped up Overwatch. But for those of you who enjoy that anime stuff, you can now get your fix on Crunchyroll, which is now launched on Switch. If Kingdom Hearts didn't do it for you, now you can just get the real thing. Just pump it right into your veins.
If you're a degenerate.
Yes, agreed.
Well, it sounds like Sony is partnering up with the Arbor Day Foundation to plant a tree for a trophy.
Every time you earn a trophy, the particular trophy in Horizon Zero Dawn,
and they're going to go and plant a tree.
They'll plant a tree. Yeah.
I wonder what the trophy is about, like chopping down a tree or something.
No, it says it in there. It's the Reached. Let's see, the Reached the Daunt trophy, which is, and I guess the plot of Horizon Forbidden West. Sorry, it's not Zero Dawn. Zero Dawn is the first game. Horizon Forbidden West is that you are saving the planet from a rogue terraforming system. So when you get to that point in the game, I guess they'll plant a tree for you. So
that's pretty cool. Amazon has signed an agreement with the studio that does game, movies, and TV. Such as Sonic, Disco Elysium, Life is Strange. Possible It Takes Two adaptation. Whoever wrote this?
I wrote it assuming that you might look at it.
I wasn't ever going to look at it.
No. So Amazon is signing with this company that has made these other games, game movies like Sonic the Hedgehog, Disco Elysium, Life is Strange. Those are adaptations that are currently in process. And there has been some rumor that they may make an adaptation for the game It Takes Two by EA. Which went over fairly well at things like the Game Awards. It was like I think, didn't it win like Game of the Year at the Keeleys this last year? Something like
Honestly,
that.
I think I might prefer an adaptation of what's the one where they're getting out of prison or whatever?
A Way Out.
A Way
Out. Yeah. Which actually was really good.
I think I would rather see a show based on that than
I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you.
Anyway. Well, Hello Games is saying that they are not done by a long shot. with updates to No Man's Sky. So, bless them.
They just released an update last week, and it's I love that game so much.
Get a giant robot.
Yeah, and they updated the combat and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, that's right. This is kind of interesting. There was a coal power plant that was only running something like 40 days a year or something like that in Sweden. And, or actually, I'm sorry, was it in Sweden? So where was this? Oh, I'm sorry, in Montana. I always get those two. I get those two mixed up all the time. But there was a power plant that was just kind of flagging like it wasn't doing very well. And so these crypto mining bros decided that they were going to buy this plant and use it for a power source to mine Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I always hear from people like, oh, Bitcoin is so bad for the environment or whatever. Like, eat this, like, coal power.
There you
it's
go.
Back. It's back with crypto.
Epic Games offers full-time employment to hundreds of contract testers. That's actually kind of cool.
I think that is pretty good. That's great for them to do.
They got the money for it. I mean,
yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do.
Uncharted audiobook novelization. So wait.
So this is the novel of the book of the movie.
The audiobook is read by none other than Nolan North himself. AKA
comes full circle.
AKA Nathan Drake.
That's right. That's our guy.
I forgot Nathan Drake's name for a second. I was like, what is his name?
Bob Bablinski.
Nolan Drake.
Nolan Drake.
Yeah.
Guys, that is going to do it for Speedrun News. That is going to do it for this episode of your Game Bytes Show podcast. I want to thank you all for sticking through it with us all the way to the end. I want to thank my co-hosts for being with us, Dale, Jared, LeGrand, who had to go, but appreciate you guys all being here and doing this thing with us in spirit. If you have any thoughts about any of the news that we've talked about, if you played a game this week and want to share that with us, you can find us on social media and do that. You can find us collectively at Game Bytes Show. You can also reach out to us individually. I am at Jeremy_Lamont. I am at Count Elmdor.
I'm at Red_I.
You can also find LeGrand Jolly at LeGrand on social media. You can also find us over at GameBytesShow.com. You can find the back catalog of all of our podcasts there, link to our Discord server. Come and join us. But most of all, go find us over at YouTube.com/GameBytesShow, where you can see this show done live in your face. You can send us messages. You can distract us. You can bring up something that we totally biffed or completely got wrong, which is, not outside the realm of possibility. Even we can do it. We do it live for you. And so you can come join us live on YouTube.com. You can also find it there, the archives, lots of good stuff on there. In fact, I had a lot of old Game Bytes stuff pop up on my YouTube homepage a little bit earlier this evening. And I was like, oh yeah, we've done a lot of good stuff over there. So lots of good things over there. And we certainly appreciate having you pay attention to all of that good content that we're putting out there. But that's going to do it for this week and for this Game Bytes Show podcast. Until next time, this will do it. And we will see you next time.
Be seeing you.
Bye.
Later.